Okay, so take like fucking. Can I say like molest in the server? Am I allowed to say that? Can I say molest? Okay, yeah. So assuming I fucking brutally molest like a bunch of people, okay. Do you think that the wrongness property supervenes on like the fact that I'm molesting him, or does it supervene on their experience of suffering?
The experiences.
Okay, so it's not the okay, so it's the experience. It's itself. This is
something this is like a synthetic claim that I'm positing, right? Like somebody could say something. No, I actually think that like the organization when people's particles are organized molesting wise, right? Like the good valence occurs like in the same way that it does for pleasure, or like the bad valence occurs or something, right? Somebody can make some claim like this. It would just be like just a synthetic claim. I just don't think there's good evidence for it.
Okay. So the goodness and the badness is the mental shit. Yeah, so I'm just really trying to understand this causation stuff. So like, when I understand causation, my experiences are a product of my consciousness. My consciousness is like nature and its interaction with reality and the natures of the things in reality. So like sight, really easy example. You know what I mean? What exactly contributes the experience of goodness?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking like which organs do that?
Well, not which organs, but like. So like take color, right? Like yeah. I can understand that reality is giving me like fucking wavelength of light, and then I have these sense networks that can like take light and they can make it like it appears to me in the form of sight, right? So I'm just like I'm aware of the fact of wavelength in the form of my sight. Mm-hmm. When I have experiences of goodness, like where's goodness coming from? Is it like what factual experience?
Oh, it's some estimation that your brain's making. So your brain's like a goal setting mechanism. It's making a bunch of estimations about the world.
Estimations. Okay, wait. Oh, okay. So it's like a contribution of conscious. It's like an active evaluation.
Well, I'm not sure what you'd call an active evaluation. I think it's like an
but like
brain does.
Yeah, it's an automatic evaluation though, right? Like
yeah.
Oh, holy fuck! We just made so much ground. Holy shit. Okay.
I think your brain is like, here are a bunch of things here's a bunch of things that these organisms have learned. It turns out to like not be in line with whatever goal the DNA.
Okay, actually, hold on. I think me and you are actually fucking. We might actually agree a lot. Okay, so it seems like you're saying that like your brain has this automatic evaluation of like life promoting, life not promoting, whether that's like correct or not or infallible.
I wouldn't say life promoting. I think that like the process of DNA mutation has like given our brains goal setting mechanisms. I don't think they have to be life promoting. I think that it's just like making sure that your DNA replicates is one thing that means that you'll have like more copies of things with that similar goal mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just your brain has a bunch of automatic evaluations, and so pain is like the automatic. Or sorry, pleasure. I understand pleasure. Pleasure is like the automatic psychological fucking consequence of like evaluating things as good or bad for your biological goals. I get that. Is pain and so that's pain and pleasure. Is goodness like supposed to be some like psychologically motivating thing?
Well, I'm not sure it would be. I think that in general it ends up being psychologically motivating. I don't think it's necessarily psychologically motivating. I think it's
sure, but
because of like.
Sure, so that's what I'm saying. Though, so
unknown, yeah.
Assuming you don't think that pleasure and goodness are analytically like the same, you think pleasure is good. I understand what you just described to me, how that can be a causal explanation for pleasure. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What's the causal explanation for the goodness?
Well, the goodness, I'm guessing, is just I'm not entirely sure what it is that makes our brain's experience good. But the pleasure itself is just and I think that's analytically going to be something which one necessary condition of it is being good. But I don't think it's the case that that only pleasure can be good.
Yeah. So part of the definition. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you see my confusion. Like I'm trying to understand the conceptual origin. Not conceptual. I'm trying to understand like the actual like fucking epistemic epistemology going on to like actually experience goodness in the way you're talking about it.
Well, yeah, I mean the epistemology for it is just like I have a firsthand experience of like what pleasure is, right? And the thing that I'm I meant metaphysics. Yeah, I'm trying to understand like the fucking mechanism going on to like actually cause that. Because I can make if it's like that's not going to be like neurological questions.
Yeah, I mean like the thing is for me is it's like obviously I agree that so from my perspective I don't see pleasure as like necessarily producing necessarily having this good property that you're talking about, primarily because I think there's different types of pleasure and the status of the goodness being like present, and those are just going to change based on what like its relationship to your life, right? So obviously I just like We just have a conceptual disagreement of good. And so what I'm trying,
semantic disagreement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just disagree on what good is. Like we're literally talking about different things.
What I'm doing is I'm trying to index it to like the full understanding of good is.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, like we can. I kind of don't care about the empirical question about like how we use good, but I mean, like, yeah. So when I'm looking at good in the way that you're talking about it, I'm trying to understand like what is actually going on for you to produce that experience. Because like I understand that some people. Oh, look, Harkin's back. Maybe you have an argument. I understand that some people will say like, sorry, I started thinking about Harkin. I'm sorry, I was going too far. Because to me, it's like at some point, it seems to me like you're smuggling in goodness to just be like present there, but I'm not really understanding what's happening to say that you're actually aware of some fact of goodness and whether or not it's just like a creation of your consciousness.
I don't think it's going to be non-factual if it's a creation of the consciousness. Like for example, me saying...
No. Sure. I understand, but I'm saying like, it's more so I'm trying to understand whether or not it's independent to me or something like that is like what I'm trying to say. Like whether or not goodness is like, whether or not I'm like kind of aware of this fact independent of me, or whether or not it's kind of like, the causal creation, whether or not it's primarily consciousness or primarily a reaction to existence. That's like the main thing. Because like fucking schizo delusions are primarily creations of consciousness. Mm-hmm. But they have like, it has like some cause from reality. It's like same thing.
Same is going to be true of things like math, I'm guessing, right? Under your view.
Math being creations of consciousness.
Yeah, with some relation to reality.
Yeah, I think it's a creation of consciousness, and I think that some creations of consciousness are fine, but it all depends on the epistemology behind the creation. I mean,
if you want, like the way that I'm like figuring out facts about it is I'm just like I'm inducting from the fact that other people's brains are going to be pretty similar to mine, and then I'm inducting from my own experiences. The thing that I'm talking about when I talk about good, just like this aspect which I have a first-hand account of. Like the same way when I talk about red, I'm like conducting from a shared brain structure between me and others, and like this first-hand understanding of it. Like I've seen red shit before. I know other people who identify the shit that I call red, and we're using the same word for it, and they have pretty similar brain structures. So I'm kind of just making the assumption that because of the fact their brain's pretty similar to mine, a similar thing must be going on inside of it.
Yeah, so like me and you, like, so like the difference, I guess I can run you through how I conceptually look at all this stuff. All I understand is that like, here you are, you're living, little rational you. You have all these different experiences of pleasure and pain, and based on your experiences of pleasure and pain, you make judgments about whether or not those things are, of one, of any significance to you, and two, whether or not they're life conducive or life hurting. And kind of at the same time, you form beliefs about what is life hurting and what isn't life hurting. So like, for example, like children are like fucking terrified of the dentist. I think at some point I think at the very beginning of your conception of like good and bad, you just take pleasure and pain to be the same fucking thing as good and bad.
No, I think not that they're the same thing, but just that it's a property which is true. But
yeah, it's true that pleasure. Yeah, that pleasure is good. Sorry, that pleasure is good.
Not the
and then at some
good, just that,
it is. Yeah. And then I think as you get older, you start like rationally evaluating it not independent, but like you further understand like, okay, well, like what makes something good or bad? It's very obvious to see how like pleasure, or not obvious. It's very there's like a very easy link to draw between like pleasure and life promotion, right? Because pleasure is like a motivator. It's enjoyable, stuff like that. Same thing with like, the opposite for pain. And then at some point you're like, okay, well, there are these things which are pleasurable, but they're bad, and there are things that are all these things that are good. And it starts becoming more about your life as a whole. And so goodness is actually just this word we use to describe different things being good or bad for us. And that doesn't disconnect from your emotions, right? Like things can be good for you because of the consequence of their emotions, but the emotions are the experience of those emotions. Those make something good or bad because of those emotions, their relationship to your life.
What I'm like sometimes pleasure and suffering are emotions.
Huh?
What I'm talking about with pleasure and suffering are a type of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Like pleasure and suffering, like sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. So it's really just like, I mean, I don't think the thing is our views are like kind of similar, but also I didn't ask this, but like I'm assuming you don't use pleasure and like you use pleasure to account for like contemplation and stuff too, right? Like you consider happiness to be a form of pleasure.
I consider pleasure just to be like a valent state. I think that like happiness is like a thing that we're talking about that includes pleasure. Then, like when you're being happy, you're being pleased.
Yeah. So like
Happiness.
you kind of think that like the positive emotions are like all kind of subsumed by pleasure.
Yeah. All that
Okay.
the positivity of the emotion is what I'm talking about when I talk about good.
Yeah. But would you say that like all the positive emotions are a form of pleasure?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
all
So
things
then.
which are bringing about pleasure, at least. Right? You can imagine some that are like not pleasure directly, but they bring.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. That's another thing. Me and you like just use pleasure and pain differently. But okay, cool. Yeah, I think I understand. The disagreement is just like, I mean, like I don't really see the valent property of good in my and pleasure as such. You know, I see it as like good. I see it as good because I can evaluate it as good or bad, but I don't see it as like inherent in the experience.
When you say you're evaluating it as good or bad, what are you evaluating it as? Like, what does that word good or bad mean there?
Life conducive or life frustrating.
So all you're saying is when you say you're evaluating something as good or bad, just that you're evaluating something as something which will bring about more life or not as as much of a chance of life?
Well, it's not just more, but like you know, there are qualitative aspects to your life. But yeah, that's part of it.
Well, I mean, it just seems like there are like pretty clear examples where people go out of their way to do something which is like bad for their life, right? Which they know is going to be bad for their life, and good for others' lives. And it seems like that's one of the actions that people do get in backtick. And if you're trying to make some account of like the actual ways people act, that just seems strange to me.
Well, I don't think that. The first thing is I don't think everybody has the objectivist epistemology just fucking ready, loaded up, ready to go. But I mean, like, I do think that conceptually the underpinnings are still fundamentally there. Because I do think that your evaluation of good and bad is chosen, or in the sense that like your beliefs aren't predetermined about it. It makes perfect sense to say that like some people say that like, well, what's good? They'll make judgments about. Oh my god, this is gonna be unpacking. They'll make judgments about like man's place in reality. So like the importance or significance of man's individualized happiness in contrast to others. Like I think it's a pretty common judgment to say that like man should serve the greater good. He's like sacrificial or something like that. And that's like a view just about man. Or say that like, you know, your friends are so important. Those values are what give your life meaning. And so what's better for me is like ends up being what's like better for the other people because my life doesn't mean to an end, something like that.
Well, I think that when we're talking about meaning there, I think that's is kind of like smuggling something in, which I just think when people are talking about like your life has meaning, I think they're just like pumping in their own views on morality into the meaning thing. I think if you're saying something like because your life wouldn't have meaning, you wouldn't enjoy it. I don't think that's true. I think plenty of people would say like, yeah, I can enjoy a meaningless life, right? I could like be hopped up on like opioids and heroin frequently enough.
Yeah, if you define, so it depends on. I would agree with that depending on how you define enjoy. If by enjoy you mean like you get like positive like physical sensations, then sure. But I don't think you fucking enjoy your life. Like I don't think that shit is like happy.
Well, I can imagine a person who's like living a life that is what some people are going to call meaningless, right? But those people would even agree that person might still be happy, right? They might just like
no, I don't
like,
think
be a bad person.
I actually don't even think my concept I don't even think can account for someone having a meaningless happy life. Like I don't even know how you're happy without meaning.
You could just what do you mean by meaning? Maybe that's like crux.
Meaning are like the fucking things that you do that you value as like significant that kind of make life worth living.
Well, significant seems like it kind of has the same kind of issue with it. What does significant mean? Almost feels like it kicks the can down the road.
I don't know. Maybe like importance to the quality of your life. Like I don't.
Yeah, but importance got the same kind of issue. Like I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Important might actually be an irreducible word. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't even know if I can give a definition for important. How does Google define it? Maybe it can objectivist redefine the word important given how Google defines it. But I think it's primitive. Hold up. Important.
This is of great significance or value.
Yeah, and significance. Well, sorry, what? Yeah, it depends on your morals, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's just going to turn on your morals. It's just like an axiological.
And then significance is just defined as important. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, it's just like, it's a circle term. Yeah, so I guess significance is just kind of a primitive. But yeah, I mean, like, when I think about a meaningful life, I just think that means just like, you judge things as significant and like worthy, like very important, worthy of pursuing, and you like go and pursue them. If you like don't have any passions, you don't have like any fucking like set goals for yourself, and you just kind of like drift and do drugs, like I actually cannot imagine you being happy.
Well, I could imagine somebody having like a really strong goal to like live a very hedonistic lifestyle where they just give themselves lots of pleasure. They just really enjoy that, and they feel like they're on top of the world. They feel like they're the king of the world when they're like doing a bunch of cocaine and driving their car 200 miles per hour down the speedway or something.
Okay, yeah. In terms of significance, then, yeah. So in terms of meaning, then I guess they get around the meaning thing. Like, yeah, their life would be meaningful in the sense that they have purpose.
Well, I think when other people are saying something like your life would be meaningless if it wasn't the case that you...
There's like not a proper meaning, is that what they're saying?
Well, yeah, when they mean like there's something like it's not the correct morally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I guess yeah, I think it's just like it's just a conceptual disagreement. I don't know. I'd have to think about like yeah, I don't even know the fucking metaphysics of like how you'd even experience what caused the experience, what you're talking about, because I really don't even.
Well, maybe here's more food for thought. But like with the life promoting thing, I think that the reason why there's a correlation between pleasure and life promotion is just because life promotion generally correlates with gene promotion. But obviously there are going to be like exceptional cases where you promote your genes in a way that does something that's like detrimental to your life as an organism, right? Like you're not passing on the identical genes to what you have, but instead you're like something like, oh, that's my family, so I like care more about them than others. And it turns out those individuals have like they have genes that are more like yours.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah.
Do you I don't know if you ever hold this view. Do you still hold the view that objectivists are like insanely retarded?
I think objectivism is insanely retarded. I don't think you're insanely retarded. I just think the view is retarded.
Let's go. Yeah, I don't obviously I don't think the view is insanely retarded. I just like the fuck. I mean, like there's so much when you talk to like educated people who have like differing views, I really do think a lot of it is just like we kind of do this thing when we philosophize where we fucking try to reduce down like all these extended beliefs down to like more important, more fundamental concepts.
Yeah.
And then we like kind of hinge our whole view on those. And we have like a whole like fleshed out comprehensive analysis of that concept. And then like when we disagree, it's really just disagreeing with these fundamental things. And then it's just like kind of like a bro moment where it's like, well, you like actually just think about this word differently. Like I don't even know how you think about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not terrible. I did want to ask you. I think you would agree. You would agree that like you have no. Is there any commitment to being being an altruist? Is there any commitment to being an altruist if you're not a realist?
What do you mean by commitment?
Like, sorry. Do you have any reason? Do you have any? Would you say you have any like? Assuming anti-realism is true. Do you see like any reason to be a utilitarian that's not selfish?
It just depends on what we mean by anti-realism. Like, which anti-realist view are we talking about?
Yeah, it's like there's no categorical reasons for action.
Well, if you just say there are no reasons, then I would agree that there are like, yeah, you wouldn't have any reasons.
Well, no categorical reasons, yeah.
Oh, then you might have like hypothetical reasons which are non-selfish.
Yeah, but then it's like the thing is I don't really understand that. You know what I mean? Because like if morality is stance dependent, I find it like kind of like a little bit of a contradiction to be like, oh yeah, I think that you should behave altruistically.
Well, you said anti-realism, but you're just talking about like the subjectivist preference account of anti-realism.
Oh, I mean, error theorists obviously don't give a fuck, but like, I mean, yeah, the ones who do make statements like normative statements. Do you see any reason?
A bunch of anti-realist views that can make normative statements, some of which are just gonna like make perfect sense with utilitarianism. But like if we're just using like we grant the personal identity thing and we just say like moral statements are just indexed to your own preferences about things, I think the view ends up having like a bunch of absurd reductios. Like if you grant all those to be true, then yeah, I would just say like the correct view just ends up being some kind of particularism probably.
Well, it's also like this is what I'm saying though. So,
but I also think that even the subjectivist doesn't want to go with something like what I mean is my preferences. What they want to go is that like it's some subset of preferences, and then I think it's pretty easy to see that like the moral preferences are about the valences. And so I think you can make an argument like the kind of like Humean argument in favor of like an anti-realist utilitarianism.
Yeah, I don't. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, like, well, the thing is ultimately this. So, like, as a utilitarian, like, your reasoning, or as a realist, your reasoning for acting in a utilitarian way is because you have like the categorical reasons to promote utility, right?
Oh no,
promote the good.
No. The reason I act in a utilitarian way is because I like to. If you're asking for like a causal reason.
Well, no, the reason you should.
Yeah, the reason I should just ends up being because the categorical reasons or the stance independent reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But this I'm saying as an anti-realist, all the reasons for are ultimately just going to bottom out into something to fucking do with some stance you have. right? So it's
Yeah,
just to say that like,
but if all you
Can you
mean
just
by
see my
should,
message?
but if all you mean by should is just like I prefer it, right? Then it just ends up being kind of
no, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be the preference stuff. But I'm saying like all species are anti-realism, assuming they make normative statements. Like the justification is ultimately going to be like, oh, it depends on the stance I have or whatever.
Not really. There's a bunch of them that are like, not going to be stance dependent at all. They're just going to say that they're like non-propositional, but it's not going to depend on anything. It's just like it's non-prop.
Okay, yeah, then that just seems kind of retarded. I don't know about the non-propositional moral system. I don't know. I don't even know what they're fucking talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I get what the non-cognitivists are trying to get at.
I'm talking about real. I'm talking about realists or anti-realists. I'm taking for granted cognitivism. I'm taking for granted cognitivism. All that.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that they're anti-realists who are non-cog, which is just all non-cognitivists, right? They'll say something like moral facts are non-propositional, or the moral statements are non-propositional, and like I get what they mean by that. It's like pretty easy to come up with other statements that are kind of like similar. To
No. Okay, yeah. Sorry, the things maybe I didn't communicate what I'm taking for granted when I say that. Like I'm taking for granted that they think that there are true moral statements, but they're not.
Okay,
like.
So you're just all right. So we're asking like the subset who are cognitivists and anti-realists.
Yeah, the ones who like actually have moral theories.
Well, yeah. A lot of those anti-realists will not be based on stances. Like there are other views as well in the domain. Like there's going to be some that are like, yeah, it's not going to be determined by your stances, but instead it's going to be determined by some other totally non-real fact, which is like maybe they're like the same way some people who like mathematical anti-realists, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then wait. Yeah. That's actually maybe that just gets really weird. I don't even know. I mean, like maybe I'm being too charitable with like how coherent the other anti-realists views are. But I don't understand if it's not like a categorical reason to make you act selflessly, then I kind of don't know what the other alternative would be to make you act selflessly.
Like there are people who will view similar to like an Aristotelian view.
Oh yeah, those people are retarded.
Yeah, I agree, but they hold view like some kind of like they hold some similar view to it, like an Aristotelian view on like what it means for something to have like a good function. But they're like anti-realists about it, right? So they'll just say something like, yeah, what it means to like to be a well-functioning person ends up being totally subjective and arbitrary, but there's still a definition that we understand, even if it's like a totally subjective, arbitrary one.
Well, yeah, but I understand I understand how conceptually they can define and outline what's morally good. What I'm really getting at though is that like the like whyness behind behaving that, like why should I? I like calling this like moral authority questions. Like when you ask for the moral authority of like their normative, their ethics, whatever. As an anti-realist, I really don't know how you can give I don't know how you can give a good non-selfish reason. Like one that doesn't just become like kind of piggybacking off of implicit egoism. Seems like it's all selfishly based.
Well, I think that egoism is a little bit more restrictive than just saying something like, I think the moral facts are dependent on some subset of my stances, right? It's like I think the egoistic claim is that like the moral facts are one-to-one in accord with whatever I think is maximizing my own well-being, and it's pretty easy to see how.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Well-being. So maybe, yeah. I guess I just use egoism, altruism as like a more wider, broader, kind of like a set of beliefs, like a kind of conceptual framework. You think about ethics. But yeah, I mean, you could just say like I prefer to do things that are bad for me, and it's completely coherent to say like, yeah, I prefer to do this thing even knowing full well that it'll like kill me or something, and like I'll be tortured in Guantanamo Bay if I do. No, yeah, I know. I understand how the subjectivists can get away with saying like, given my selfish reasons, I'm gonna do things which are against my. But it's still ultimately all like fucking selfish. Like the reasoning is selfish.
I mean, depends on what you mean by selfish, I guess. If you just mean like based on their preferences, I don't know. I'd probably agree with that. Like the views based on your preferences are selfish on that account, but that's just kind of like just obvious, right? Like the views that are based on your
preferences. Yeah. What's something it is obvious. Like when I talk to subjectivists, like I don't know. I know a lot of subjectivists who are like, are kind of big into altruism. If you're a subjectivist in your altruism, you're gonna say that like, we should act X, Y, Z, right?
Yeah.
The reason why to act all these ways is like all these utilitarian stuff, but the underpinning for that is like not utilitarian, like selfish. So like I understand that you can
meta-ethical underpinning, which you can say it's selfish and that it's like subjective. And that's what you mean. I would just agree that subjectivists use are subjectivists. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like I don't know. I personally think that weaponizing meta-ethics in a debate is fine. I know that like some people will say that like your meta-ethics are kind of irrelevant. I don't really agree. I think that.
Yeah, I mean like I've seen Lance Bush made a video. Lance Bush made a video where it was like Ethics doesn't like inform anything. I was like, that's not fucking true. Like, if you're a realist, like, on what grounds are you gonna defend? Like, if you're like a fucking realist, like, presumably you have epistemology about how you came acquainted with the moral facts. So, like, obviously the fucking epistemology is gonna exclude like other views. Like, yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. I think we're fine.
I think
we just
Lance
disagree,
gets
bro.
a lot of shit wrong. He gets so much shit wrong.
Yeah, but he's based as fuck.
I think I don't know. He's kind of fun. I like him, but he gets so fucking wrong.
Perhaps. Mayhaps. Hey, it's all good, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Writing my fucking paper on once I get done writing my fucking paper on like the empirical case for utilitarianism as the folk ethic, I'm gonna hit Lance Bush up and make him debate me on it because it's kind of his area.
No, literally, please.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I don't know. I'm kind of deciding between meta-philosophies and how should I approach meta-ethics. Obviously, my fucking like kind of general meta-philosophy is like I want to do the things which like study man and his relationship to existence. So like when I talk about meta-ethics, I kind of just want to talk about like fucking man promotion. You know what I mean? That's some homosexual shit, but it's a man promotion.
Okay, as fuck.
But like fucking philosophical history. Yeah, I'm willing to agree that like there's a fucking pluralism of like usages of the concept of good and bad. But I think me and you are actually kind of trying to do the same thing. We're trying to be like, yeah, there are a bunch of usages of the word good and bad in terms of the way they've developed the concept. But the conceptual origin of the concept of good is like actually the same, and we just have like different like branchings of them, and those branchings are like either good or bad because they're consistent or inconsistent with the conceptual origin or something like that.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, that's kind of similar to the view I hold.
Yeah, like you're saying that like here's how you become acquainted with the facts of goodness. It's like, okay, well, like what is our fucking conceptual basis? Like actually tell us about the latter stuff, and you're gonna be like, oh, like the Volcker is kind of inconsistent. Like, I get that. That's what I tried doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what's funny is the Volcker are mostly inconsistent on judgments about actual states of affairs. It's not even like they're like inconsistent on the views themselves. They just have like these wacky ass fucking.
Oh, yeah, they don't know the empirics. Yeah, they don't know the empirics.
They're fucking wrong about it. Yeah, no, I swear, it's like rude to do that to my mom's grave because my mom's looking at me from heaven. She'll feel sad. It's like, no, dog, that's not how that works.
Yeah. Bring up meta ethics and any applied ethics to me. Not even trolling. Like when I debate people on TikTok, I'm not even like. I go straight to moral epistemology. I don't go fuck. I'm like, okay, how do you know that's good? And then like based on their answer, I'll either dismiss them as a retard or not. Like, yeah, most of the time on TikTok, I don't think I've ever had someone satisfactorily answer this. They'll be like, oh, I know it's good because of my intuition. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, intuition as a faculty gains you what knowledge? And I was like, do you think intuition is like this faculty you can use to explore the world and uncover these moral facts? I was like, you're retarded.
Usually in applied ethics debates, I just because of the fact that I'm a utilitarian, I have an easy time just making the utilitarian arguments for whatever the applied ethic is. And then the moment they diverge from utilitarianism, then it becomes like a more throw a couple reductios and then move to meta ethics kind of thing.
Yeah. Yup. That's what I do. You know what I mean? I gotta be like, hey, that shit is not self. I mean, actually, no, bro. So because my view is like pretty radical. People don't think the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
I have to kind of. I'm normally on the fucking offense because like defensively, rhetorically, I'm at like a weaker point just because like people don't accept my view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I have to like explain the nuances of my shit. So what will happen is I'll go on offense when they ask for defense. When they ask me to go on defense, I just say that you're pivoting and go back. And then given that they fucking press me, I'm like, okay, let's talk about meta ethics, and then I'll be like, all right, listen, retard, what are values? And so that's my fucking strat. Hey, it works though. It's fire.
I enjoyed the conversation yesterday, but I'm still confused with the fourth thing that you had like an issue.
What was
The fourth thing, if I wrote it down, or no, my bad. It was like this third one is like pleasure qualitative thing. I don't understand the calculus thing.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask Sinthe about that some other time, but yeah, like calculating utility. Calculating utility. I'm assuming it's like some mix of like the amount of positive experiences and then like the intensity of the quality of the positive experiences, something like that. Is that how utility is calculated, Sinthe?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, and there's not like a fucking like set of fucking rules, right?
There's a bunch of like heuristics that can be used and a bunch of like ways you can use induction. But yeah, the general idea is just that like there's kind of a how good an experience is, right? And we kind of understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So you just like tally up the points.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So given an example, I have an example. Let's say like I fucking brutally molested my best friend, Actually, no, you'd enjoy that. Hold on. Let's say I brutally molested Chris Kringle when he came down my chimney, right?
Yeah.
And I produced more positive. I produced a higher degree of positive experience than he produced negative degrees of negative experience. Do you think that would be morally good?
So you're saying that like there's this case where Chris Kringle is like not going to be like traumatized by the molesting. You're just like groping him or something, and he's like he doesn't really care that much. But you.
No, he cares. But I'm just so fucking happy. Like I enjoy raping him so much.
Not a lot.
No, he cares. He cares a lot. But I just enjoy raping him so much.
Yeah, you just like we're just positing like a utility monster kind of case.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same reason that like when an ant stubs their toe, I'm not like crying about it or something. It's the same reason in that case. But don't you bite that bullet?
The raping one?
Even if Chris Kringle was having like way less positive experience.
Well, no, I don't think the rape would be enjoyable.
Well, yeah, you don't think
the
rape isn't enjoyable?
Sorry, not enjoyable. I don't think the rape would be ethical. Sorry.
Wait, but by your definition of ethics, it's just egoism.
Yeah, I'm a Udemy on that. Like, I don't. It's not like a case by case basis. Like, what produces my well-being? It's more so like, what are the types of behaviors that principally will lead me to live a happy life?
Yeah,
so
and you're saying like
rule egoism or something.
Hmm?
Rule egoism or something.
Sure. I never heard that word. But I've never used it like that. But yeah, rule egoism.
Yeah, so like but the issue with rule views is that they just like bake back down onto the act views. So in the case of like what rule you could go about using, they would lead you to have the most. They would lead you to have the I guess you said the life with like the most well-being, or like the life in which you like have like the most eudaimonic state, you're like the most pleased or whatever, most happy. It's just going to be to calculate what the happiness is in the moment and use a bunch of heuristics.
Oh, okay.
Same act view.
No, I think no. Yeah, I don't agree with that. When I think about moral principles, and then like the rape example, well, raping people is inconsistent with the proper social conditions required by my nature.
Well, raping people, and if you can get away with it, isn't.
No. Raping people is because when I rape somebody, well, raping conceptually would have to commit you to the belief that like, in order to honestly, rationally rape somebody, you would have to be committed to the view that other people are a means to an end, to which you can enslave them. Which is to say that human beings aren't ends in and of themselves. But denying that human beings aren't ends in and of themselves when you rape them also conceptually commits you to the contradiction of you being an individual to pursue your own values.
Yeah,
so like
you can't make the same. Well, now it seems like you're making like a realist argument. So I don't understand why you can't make the same like anti-realist argument as earlier and just say you only care about what's good for you, not what's good for them.
No, it is good for me, but the facts about what's good or bad for me, I don't have to do with my preferences. I'm not a subjectivist. It has to do with the facts about what's good for human beings given their nature. So, like, I know that it's good for me to use my reason, and I know that because it's good for me to use my reason, I have the moral right to use it. But when I rape people, I'd be evading the same facts about man's nature that morally justify me to do the action I'm doing.
And you're saying there's some contradiction?
Yeah, the contradiction is that man is both a sacrificial animal and is not a sacrificial animal, because presumably I think that it's rational for me.
Some men are sacrificial animals. Why can't you just say that?
Because the identification of sacrificial animal. Because the identification of whether or not an animal is sacrificial is based on their nature. It's like the sum versus not all is like gets around the point. The fact is that man by his nature is not sacrificial.
Wait, so you can't just say that you have a different nature than other people do?
Yeah, you can, but that'd be fucking morally wrong because that's just wrong. It's like
why is that false? Like you don't have a different nature than other people do?
You don't have a different nature that commits you to different moral principles.
Why not?
Because the moral principles.
Hold on, it doesn't actually matter with the different moral principles. Just do you have a different nature?
Well, you have a different nature in the sense that you're not the same person. Yeah, but when you're talking about your nature, I'm talking about like, do you guys have the same essential? Like, do you have the same essential characteristic of being of being at the conceptual rational level? That's what I mean.
Well, yeah, you can make the argument like this or something, but I think it's still fine to just say something like the principle that I'm holding to there just ends up being. I think that some individuals have nature which are sacrificial and are rational.
Well, that just wouldn't be a rational animal. All of the rational conceptual animals aren't sacrificial. In which case, you're just talking about. Oh no, the ability to abstract percepts into concepts.
So why does that make you non-sacrificial?
Because I think that the ability to do that is also the ability to have free will.
Yeah, so why does that make you non-sacrificial though?
Because so recognizing that an animal has free will is recognizing that Their life has to be guided by their choice. There are certain facts about what.
Why is that entailed?
Well, like I'm saying, like as a requirement of them having free will, they have to guide their action.
They have
by
to
choice.
sometimes guide their action, but other times they can be forced to do action, right?
No, I'm saying, okay, well, maybe this is like a. I'm saying like their nature, like them living, them going and living, them going. Who just texted me? Oh, them going and living is required. Sorry, fuck. Them going and living has to be a product of their free will. Like them going and living, assuming that they're the one going and living. Assuming that they're the one going and living.
Yeah, why?
Because
like why can't
their means of survival is their free will. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is just a methodological confusion. When I'm talking about like ethics, when I'm talking about what's good and bad, I'm talking about man kind of like as an isolated individual animal. I only introduce like the social stuff after we understand man and his nature, and then we can talk about other men.
Well, I'm just asking, why is it the case that a person with free will has to be somebody who's living by their own choice?
Well, given that they have free will, right? That's just to say that they are an animal where their actions are chosen.
Well, it doesn't mean that all of their actions are chosen.
If they have free will, they have to, like, they're literally required to choose their actions. Unless, of course, we enter the social context, then you it's like logically possible that you can be forced. I agree, but I'm saying, assuming that you're living, like assuming that it's you in reality.
You can just say something. Yeah, you have a bunch of free choices. It's just whether or not you kill yourself isn't one of them.
Wait, what? Yeah, I'm confused with this example. So I'm on an island. Here I am. I'm like living, whatever.
Yeah.
My survival is me directing myself with my beliefs or whatever.
Like let's just imagine like an alien or something. It's like a rational actor. They've got free will, right? But they don't have they don't have the strength necessary to kill themselves. There are no like big cliffs around, and it's like they just get their nutrients from the air or something. Totally autonomously. They don't have any control over it. They're still able to make a bunch of other choices, but like the choice to live could be something they don't have. It's not going to tell you just because you have free will that all of your actions are by choice.
Well, I'm talking about. Well, yeah, I'm taking
just use autonomic reflexes as an example.
Yeah, I'm just talking.
You breathe. You don't choose to breathe.
Yeah, you do choose to breathe, but breathing as an automatic response depends on you choosing to produce the values required for your body to automatically breathe, which is why the rational animal stuff takes for granted the context.
I don't mean to come off to rude, but that you can't just sit there and essentially suffocate yourself. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I know, right? But you do need energy in order to breathe, which you get from food.
Yeah, but
so you need to produce the food.
Biology, right? You can still have free will, even if it's the case that it was just able to photosynthesize.
Well, hold on. I can imagine another animal with different biology, but I'm telling you, my ethics is not supposed to when I say, because of their volitional nature, I'm taking for granted because of man's volitional nature. I'm not talking about I'm sure I can.
I'm just giving you this as a reason why the free will is not going to tell that. There's going to be some individuals who could probably say they have free will, but they're stuck in a hospital bed or something, being pumped with nutrients, don't have any choice about living or not. They have other choices.
Again, that's what.
Watching the TV or something.
Again, methodologically, I'm talking about man in an autistic context. I'm not talking about him socially yet. I'm just talking about him in reality, and then I can talk about other people.
Well, you could, I guess, if you're saying just in the natural world, man needs to do things to survive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, given it's just man in reality, he's got to conquer that shit with his reason.
Well, then I'm just not sure why it's the case. If you're saying just when man doesn't have anything else around him, he's got to conquer things.
Well, when man doesn't have other people around him, yeah.
I'm not even sure it's true that he has to conquer with his reason. It seems like there's a bunch of things which are non-reasoned actions, things just impulsive, reflexive actions that you do without thinking about them.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I'm confused. What? Given that you're.
One example.
Okay, well, actually, don't even. So waking. Okay, this is weird. This gets into free will stuff, which we're going to disagree on because you don't think that I'm a self. I think there's a choice to not to wake up, but to start doing shit.
Well, I agree. There's a choice to do some things, right? I'm a compatibilist, so I think it's fine to grant there's there's choice of doing things, but there's not choice in waking up.
Sure, but that doesn't really. I'm not saying that all of the processes of man are volitional. Obviously you don't manually fucking digest or something like that. I'm just saying that the primary means of your survival, all these things happen in the background. The necessary underlying thing is that you have to produce and then you consume. So you have to go get all these values so that your body can automatically consume shit. Either way, the efficient cause is your volition.
Yeah, you can. I agree that there's like some. I don't see the entailment anymore if you cash the terms out like this
That
for the contradiction.
yeah, so you understand that automatic consumption, like his survival, all the shit that's like automatically consumed and sustains his life, are the consequences of man producing things with his volition.
It seems like you keep going back to man producing things, but some people just don't have the choice. They just like die really early on, right? They don't have the choice to survive; they just die. So I don't see why we make this like strong.
Wait, what? I'm saying that man, in order to live, has to go and choose to do shit.
Yeah,
no, you don't. You can just use reductio ad absurdum and say that children are born with an inherent amount of energy. Now you start with a baby and see where that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what the fuck? Wait, that's not a reductio. Hold on, pause. The sustaining of man.
It is. It takes the logical extreme, which is the beginning of life.
Let me handle this retard. Okay, so Bree, let's fucking clarify what I said, and let's just understand what you said was really fucking stupid. So I said a man's primary means of survival and necessity for survival is his volition, i.e., man's volitional nature demands he makes choices to live. You said, oh, what if a baby is like born and they like don't make choices? Well, then they fucking die, retard. That doesn't contradict what I said.
I didn't say they don't. Hold on, I didn't say they don't make choices. I said they don't have to make choices for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, because
it's the logical extreme of the situation that you proposed.
Yeah, because they'll fucking die. My claim is that they'll die if they don't choose.
Baby doesn't die instantly when they're born.
Yeah, do you think when I say they'll fucking die, do you think I say that the second you stop making choices, you'll fucking collapse, fall on the ground, and you'll cease to exist? Do you think that's what I'm fucking saying, Bree? Yeah, you're a fucking retard. Go back to Sinthe. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so, like I was fucking saying, reason for the efficient cause of man's survival, right? Obviously, you don't fucking die instantaneously. I'm just saying that man needs to use his volition, apply it to reality, to go get some shit to live.
Look, let's take the baby example one step further, right? Let's assume the baby is gonna, like, they have a terminal condition, they'll die of, like, at, 3 months of age, right?
Yeah.
Now, this thing's gonna be something you agree has free will, right?
In, like, a fundamental sense, yeah, but not in, like, the... like fucking full sense or anything like that.
Well,
yeah.
in the sense that's necessary to make it like wrong to rape them, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so like it's wrong to rape babies that are terminally ill, even if it's the case they don't have any kind of like choice about their own survival.
Even if it's the case that they're not like, okay, yeah. So fuck, baby ethics are weird, but I still think that babies have like a fundamental choice, but it's not like fucking their free will is not very expansive. If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, what is it? There's some contradiction you're gonna say is entailed by like raping babies, right?
Yeah, so when you rape, so fuck, rights are like a very complicated conclusion of the view. So when you rape a baby, or sorry, not when you rape a baby. So just take volition, okay? When I talk about man's nature, I'm taking for granted that the model for that is like a fully developed human being. Okay, when we look at children, and their capacities, we understand that their capacities, in essence, are the same as adults. But that it's to such a limited degree that they develop into the full extent of their capacities. Like children can think, but they can't think to the fully rational degree that we can.
Well,
right?
I don't understand how that's going to be true for the 3-month-old. The one who dies at 3 months old. Like, how do they have that capacity?
Okay, well, capacity. Wait, sorry. How do they have the capacity?
Yeah, how do they have the capacity to grow into a fully developed human being?
Okay, I'm gonna invoke teleology talk, but capacity is just to say that their development is such that assuming that they met all the conditions required to grow, they would grow up and develop reason and like fully extended reason and volition.
Well, they do grow. They grow for 3 months, then they die.
No, but I'm saying, like, I'm assuming, like, fully develop. Like, assuming they develop to like adult maturity, like adulthood.
So, when you say somebody has the capacity, what you mean is that just how the word capacity is being cashed out broadly, or just for this? Like, is it just a special case here?
Well, yeah. When I talk about capacity, I'm talking about like, what this thing like could do given that it would like continue to develop. Yeah.
What it could do if it continued to develop. So then I have the capacity to be 4,000 years old?
No, you don't. You're asking.
That's what I could do if I continued to develop for 4,000 years.
No, but we're talking about the limits of like. Okay, well then like the fucking capacity talk is like also the scientific investigation. So like we scientifically investigate. Okay, well like do humans develop to have like reason? Like yeah, they do. Do humans develop to be 4,000? Yeah, but. Okay, so then this is also going to, I guess I'm saying it's going to invoke teleological stuff. Like, I think we can scientifically investigate and identify what's expected of a human being and what's proper for the development of a human being, what's not proper.
Of some human beings is different than others. We only expect certain things out of some human beings. We don't expect.
Yeah, but given that they're of the same,
baby's gonna.
Yeah, but I'm saying, given that they're of the natural kind of these other things, we can understand that you're naturally developed, you're naturally inclined or designed or oriented to develop in this way. But you're stunted.
Neither of us think there's any design. But the idea that there's like a well,
no, I not design in the sense that like that's like intentionally chosen by like a creator or something, but like design in the sense that like it's teleological.
Well, yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. It's going to be teleology stuff. yeah, I don't really know how to like explain teleological concepts further. Oh no, I got a discriminatory language. Dang, fuck. Am I gonna get banned?
No, don't worry. They're just like don't have any.
Like, I'm personally not taking offense. I'm just saying the fact that like the server has rules and you decided to be quite rude right off the bat after I've said
Shut
one
up.
thing.
Shut up, retard. Okay, so.
It's not against the rules to say retard, but it'll get the channel put down lower in the content warning listing if you say the word.
Well, this is already in the discretionary.
Yeah, this is already.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it'll get put
Yeah.
lower. Like so, basically, what Evoke, I think it was Evoke, said that like he'll lower the channels. Although, given the fact that the other channel is content warning plus and politics, I'm not really sure how much that would actually change anything.
Look, I mean, you're welcome to insult me all you want, but I don't think other people would necessarily take it as kindly.
Wait, Bria,
Sorry,
you're
I
not
took it
vegan?
as funny.
I thought it was hilarious. What are you talking
Bria,
about?
are you not vegan?
Me too.
No, I'm not.
You said you're not a vegan?
Yes, I said I'm not.
I
Oh,
even-
never mind.
I
Yeah,
even-
Divinity, you're good. You can keep calling this person a retard.
Appreciate it, bro. Anyway, but no, so Synth, yeah, I'm just telling you the conversation. I mean, like, I'm sure you've had discussions with teleological people before.
Yeah, but I always come away with the conclusion that there's like actually not like an underlying meaning, and it's just like a post hoc thing.
Yeah, I don't really know how to communicate the teleological concept to you. That's just
By
kind of
like,
good
by
crossroad
like
you have.
natural kind, you just mean species, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the species thing is just gonna be like arbitrary. Like all we mean by species is like capacity to interbreed and produce fertile offspring.
No, I'm a species essentialist. I think there's some metaphysical, real metaphysical difference between us and retards.
Oh, that means like what's the species concept you're using then?
Oh my goodness, hold on. I read this paper like a year ago.
What about like green species, for example? Or like there's like, I mean, do you think that like different ant species are like the same kind?
So I'll tell you the epistemology behind how I classify species. I don't know about the particulars of ants. The epistemology behind it is I think you can form essential differences by taking animal species and then comparing them to other species, or by taking a group of animals and comparing them to another group of animals, and then like isolating the fundamental difference between them.
Well, yeah, then why can't I just say people with Down syndrome are different species?
But they're not. See, but then speciesness, like, yeah, they're fucking different. Don't get me wrong, they're fucking different. But they're not of a different species. I don't know the specific. I don't know. I haven't thought too much about the species essentialism stuff, but I don't know the specific like fucking type of difference that species has to like to all people or something like that. So I don't even know. I don't know how to express that, but yeah, I mean, like, I assume. I just like I don't know. I don't know how to communicate. I do not know how to communicate that man is like a rational animal and that he's like designed to be rational and that like when human beings are retarded, it's because something's going wrong.
I mean, I think something's going wrong in like some like normative sense, right? Like something like morally, it's like they're worse off because of it or something like that.
Well, I don't think it's morally
There's
wrong.
like
I just think it's like
a common way it's developed. Like
it's like a teleological. It's like an Aristotelian natural kind thing, but it's not like normative for me. It's not like yeah, it's not normative for me. It's just like it's not the way it was supposed to happen.
By supposed to, we mean something non-normative?
Yeah, I take normative to be action guiding.
I'm just meaning like, in correspondence to some norm.
Oh, it's functional. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like if we mean like there's a way it's supposed to be, I can like understand that there's like a way that like people generally develop and that some people aren't. But like, there's also a way that like species generally develop and like human beings aren't that way in a bunch of regards.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we can come to conclusions about facts about what's supposed to happen. I don't know like what the scientific argument. Yeah, I don't have like an argument for like knowing the like coming to the like the genealogical taxidermic conclusion. But I have like a really good inductive argument that like human beings are supposed to be rational.
But yeah, the issue is just I don't even know what the proposition is.
Right. Because the teleology concept is foreign. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't communicate it to you, bro. All right, bro. You either got it, or you don't got it.